Nepal on fire. China's stooge gets a gate pass. What next? Army or monarchy? Friends, what's happening in Nepal right now is explosive. Is the army taking over? Is this a Chinese play or an American one? Or was India somehow involved? Nepal has literally become a tinderbox. Anger that has been building for decades now just blew up. So now let's walk through what's happening. Who might be pulling strings, and importantly, what this could mean for India. Why it erupted. For years, discontent had been smoldering. Then it erupted like a volcano. People who once believed communist leaders would be their saviors now feel betrayed. They are saying, get rid of these corrupt communists. That anger has turned the streets into battle zones in Nepal. Every hour something new happens. There are reports that army might assume control, and people are even talking about bringing back the monarchy. 7 months ago, there were signs that something big could happen, but it flared up fast, and now protests haven't stopped. Even when 3 ministers resigned, even when Prime Minister himself has resigned, youth are not backing down. Hundreds of thousands of youth are on streets. Curfews extended by authorities are being imposed on them, on authorities, by protesters now. Protesters are in charge of situation instead of authorities. They are not backing down even when bullets are being fired. 20 plus youths are dead. Even then, they're not getting scared. They have torched up Prime Minister Oli's personal residence. And finally, Prime Minister Oli has succumbed to the pressure. Now he has resigned and ran away. Presidential residence is also under the siege of protesters. So right now, Nepal stands on the brink of a new revolution. Yes, once again. The human story, why people are angry. This isn't just politics, it's about broken lives. Nepal's modern political experiments haven't delivered stability. Between 1768 and 2008, monarchs ruled Nepal over 2 centuries. Then prolonged conflict, including Maoist insurgency. All these weakened institutions. In 2006, massive protests changed everything, and by 2008, the monarchy fell. Then people thought, royals gone, commoners are now in charge. They thought, next there will be prosperity for everybody. But that didn't happen. People of Nepal were brutally betrayed. Ex-Naxals now became ruling elites. They just focused on themselves and their families' welfare. Entire government and all the powerful positions in the government organizations are filled with these ex-Naxals or new ruling communist elites. Friends, here are some fast facts to hold in your head. Nepal's population is about 3 crore or 30 million people. Unemployment rate is around 12%. That is official government data. In reality, it could be even higher. Investors haven't come in. The economy, roughly of $50 billion, hasn't taken off. About 70 lakh or 7 million Nepali youth or people work outside the country, majority of them in India in faraway locations, and their families depend on that money. That kind of economic pressure creates explosive frustration underneath. Social media ban. The spark? Since last 5 years, undercurrent of revolt was brewing in Nepal, and communist government banning social media gave it a much needed flashpoint. Officials gave administrative reasons for this. These foreign companies didn't obey our orders, so we are banning them. Friends, Oli government had given deadline for these social media companies to register in Nepal and appoint contact point person in Nepal for any administrative communication. But nobody cared. So Oli's communist government gave this reason to ban almost all major social media platforms all of a sudden, and that only fueled the fire. For a country where 90% of people use the internet, and where social media platforms are vital for news, jobs, and tourism, that felt like a personal attack. People rely on social media to find work and to promote tourism. You cut that off, you are cutting off their livelihoods. And as we said earlier, almost a quarter of the country's population lives abroad, especially in India. They use social media platforms to be connected with their families. And within Nepal, which is a hilly nation, the social media platforms were major connectivity tools for them. But Nepali communists didn't think through all of this. They said, from tomorrow everything is banned. This became a trigger. Protests surged, leaders' houses were attacked and torched. The Prime Minister resigned. But the movement didn't stop. Now Nepali youth want complete change in Nepal's administration structure. Who's playing behind the scenes? Foreign powers? Nepal's leaders are accusing foreign powers of interference. But who? Let's break it down. China? The communist leadership in Nepal has close ties to Beijing. Why on earth Chinese Communist Party or Jinping's administration try to disband the government who are very close to them? It is highly unlikely. And in Russia, it is almost impossible. Nepal doesn't offer Russia much strategic value. And United States? Yes, US has interests in the region, especially concerning Tibet and countering Chinese influence. Look at the map. Nepal almost looks like backyard of Tibet. From the north of Nepal, where Nepal ends, Tibet starts. If US gains strong foothold in Nepal, it will be tactically and strategically will be very beneficial for the United States. And Nepal's market of more than 30 million users and strategic location give the United States geopolitical reasons to keep an eye on the place. NGOs and civil society groups with foreign funding are sometimes pointed to as vectors of influence in Nepal for United States. And then comes India. Accusations about Indian involvement have surfaced too, especially because Nepal and India have deep cultural and economic ties. People in Nepal often feel close to India. Large number of Nepalis work in India, and 70% of Nepal's trade is with India. So India is a natural regional player. But no direct proof of India orchestrating these protests have been surfaced so far. And let us be practical. Arranging a 2-day ultra-fast coup to overthrow the administration with foreign orchestration is logistically very tough. And most likely scenario is a mix. Internal grievances exploited by external channels, possibly amplified by social media ban. What happens if the army or monarchy returns? If the Nepali army assumes control or a pro-monarchy government returns, what does that mean for India? It's an important question. India shares 1,751 kilometers long border with Nepal, which is almost open. People travel in and out as if it is some interstate travel than an international travel. Because neither India or Nepali citizens need a passport or visa to travel to the other country, thanks to the 1950 Indo-Nepal Treaty of Peace and Friendship. Nepal shares deep cultural and religious links with India. A pro-India government could likely strengthen cooperation on border security and trade. Who's the Nepal army chief? What about the monarchy? Friends, right now there is a real possibility that the Nepali army could move into control. Because Mr. KP Sharma Oli himself, before resigning as Prime Minister, insisted the army chief to take control and facilitate the transition. If that happens, there is no reason for India to panic. The army chief Ashok Raj Sigdel is known to have good ties with India. Born on 1 February 1967, he joined the Nepal Army in 1987. He completed courses at Shivapuri Army Command and Staff College and earned a bachelor's degree from China's National Defense University. And he has also done defense management training in India. And as you may know, India and Nepali armies honor each other's generals as their own. For example, Nepali Army Chief holds honorary general position in Indian Army, and it is vice versa. Indian Army Chief is honorary general of Nepali Army. Because of all this, if Nepalese army takes over, India-Nepal relations would likely to improve. At least it will be far better for India than this Chinese stooge government of communists. And then there are royals. Friends, remember, even earlier this year, in March, there were already big protests in favor of the former King Gyanendra. Back then, the scale wasn't as huge as now, but it showed a clear undercurrent. Many ordinary people are again looking at the monarchy as an alternative option. Today, with the crisis hitting daily lives, that sentiment has exploded. Older generations are openly saying things were much better in the king's time. This is making even Gen Z army to think about it. Some of them are already advocating for it so hardly. And now, with the communist leadership collapsing, monarchy supporters feel this is their chance. So now, whoever comes after communist collapse in Nepal, it is better situation for India than before. And considering India's clout in Nepal and Nepal's dependency on India, no newcomer will try to get into a fight with India before stabilizing right-hit country. And even if they act strongly, India still holds levers of influence. For example, the Madhesi issue. Nepal is already closely tied to India and it is a landlocked country. Remember the Madhesi blockade when essential goods were cut off? Yes, in 2015. To help Madhesi people have a fair share in Nepal's nascent democracy, India had put a blockade on Nepal. Look at your screen. This is the Madhesi region of Nepal. This is around 15% of Nepal's total land area. It stretches throughout the India-Nepal border. It looks like a tiny strip, but this is a densely populated region. That is why around 30 to 40% of Nepali population is Madhesi, and some people count Terai people also as Madhesis. If you count that way, Madhesi population goes up to 50 to 52%. India thinks they are culturally, socially and economically more and more aligned with India. And Nepal government thinks they are not true Nepalese. Many of them don't even have Nepali citizenship. They don't have voting rights in Nepal. This has been big issue between India and Nepal. For this very reason, in 2015, India went on to put blockade on Nepal to pressure them to give Madhesis the fair representation under new constitution. During that period, entire Nepal suffered due to supply chain issues. Without proper oil and gas supplies, people in cities like Kathmandu were roaming around to gather firewood. That was their source of energy for some time. Later in 2016, blockade was removed after Madhesi people and Nepali government reached some agreements. Some demands were met, but still Madhesi people think they are alienated in their own country. This issue is still alive, and entire Nepal, including whoever comes next, clearly knows this. So from every aspect, from every angle, ouster of communists is clearly a good opening for India. Shock to China. Until now, China may have treated Nepal like its backyard. But now people of Nepal are destroying entire communist power structure. The entire system these communists created over last one and a half decade. This is ideologically and strategically huge blow to China. Chinese communist ideological advancement now stops at Tibet. And China's economic interest in Nepal will also take a hit. Beijing's Belt and Road hopes could get crushed. So these are the possible scenarios. Whatever happens next, India must stay alert. Security, humanitarian readiness and diplomatic engagement will be crucial. We'll definitely bring you all the important updates in this regard in coming days. So please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And if you like this video, kindly hit like and share with your friends. Thank you so much. Keep looking for better. Let's meet again. Namaste.